From the glossary, Siddhi, the frequency band relating to full embodiment and spiritual realization. The very concept of frequencies and levels paradoxically dissolves when the truth is realized as a siddhi. The word siddhi is from the Sanskrit meaning divine gift. This siddhic state only comes about when all vestiges of the shadow, particularly at a collective level, have been transformed into light. As you enter the stage of absorption, this alchemical transformation begins to accelerate until finally all fall silent and you enter the state of embodiment at the sixth initiation. There are 64 siddhis and each one refers to a different expression of divine realization. Even though the realization is the same in each case, its expression will differ and can even appear contradictory. The siddhis spoken of in the Gene Keys synthesis are not to be confused with the way they are understood in certain other mystical traditions. The 64 siddhis are not obstacles on the path to realization, but are the very expression and fruition of realization. Siddhis are kind of easy to misunderstand because when we look at this idea of kind of superpowers, we're sort of looking from the place of separation and we're sort of thinking, oh, well, I'm going to have that power. I'm going to be omniscient, or I'm going to be deeply compassionate. But actually there isn't going to be any I. So it's almost impossible to imagine the siddhis. And at one level the siddhis are all an illusion as well, because they're kind of like, when you're watching a film, they're just the sort of part of the script. They actually aren't powers. They're just part of the kind of the script of the film. So you may find that suddenly in your awakening, you're playing a role of a person that has healing powers. And one of those siddhis that has incredible healing capacities. But it's just a role, and it's not you doing it. It's just the film itself playing. So ultimately, it's just a figment of our imagination, because that's all we are, a figment of the divine imagination. So it's important to look at these things, and take it with a pinch of salt. Rather than thinking they're these amazing kind of big things that we have to discover and find and earn, and they are kind of the harvest of the game of life, if you like. But at a certain point we have to drop them anyway and just enter into this silence spoken of in the sixth initiation, the embodiment. Where it's just suddenly there's no need for any of that showiness anymore, because we've penetrated through, and actually by penetrating right through to the core of creation, there's really nothing to say and there's really nothing to do. In the meantime, from our state, siddhis look really exciting. And perhaps we can use some of that excitement to generate the lift so that we can carry on doing our practices and our contemplation. That's really the purpose of this language.